Now we want to be able to assign specific death animations for the hammer. I'm going to go into my characters folder, death, and I want to look at the scriptable object here. Instead of having a bow parameter, launch into air, I want to be able to choose a death type. I want to be able to choose an enum. So I'm going to go into the script and I'm going to create a public enum, call it death type. I'm going to start with nothing. Could be launch into air, or could be a ground shock. And I'm going to continue to add more stuff as I go on. For now, I'm just going to have launch into air and ground shock. So instead of having a bow parameter here, I'm going to get rid of it and have a public variable called death type. And it's something that you'll be able to choose. Because I got rid of the variable, there's going to be a bunch of error messages. Or just one. Okay, this is the part where we choose which death animation gets triggered. I remember this was just a temporary code from way back. I think I want to rewrite this. So first, we want to check if the death type I want to look at the attack info. Press F12 to go into attack info. Again, same thing here. Instead of having a specific bow variable, I'm going to have a death type enum that you can choose. Okay, and we're going to compare that data versus the data that is stored for the death animation scriptable object. So we're comparing two different enums, and if they match, okay, if they match, we want to first figure out whether we must collide or not. And if we don't have to collide, we simply add it to the candidates list. If the attack must collide, then we check if it's really colliding with a specific body part, and then we add to the candidates. Now I want to go back to Unity and take a look at every death animation and every attack, because we want to be assigning the enum now. I'm going to go into the death folder. So falling back death. We haven't set this up yet. What the hell? Oh. So instead of having launch into air, let me just get rid of this. We have the death type. And the attack info. Is also going to have a death type. Public death type. Okay. And here we're just copy pasting or saving the info into the attack info. And if I go back to Unity, okay, so falling back death is neither launch into air or ground shock. For now, I'm just going to leave it at none, because this is just going to be based on a generic body part collision. For the soccer tackle, I'm going to choose ground shock, or I'm going to choose both for the soccer tackle. So soccer tackle could be based on a collision. Okay. And here I have a duplicate of the soccer tackle, but I'm going to change this to a ground shock, and I'm going to get rid of the body parts here, and I'm going to pick ground shock. Okay, so soccer tackle is based on both a general collision or something that causes a ground shock. And if I go into the resources folder for the death animation loader, I need to add that new soccer tackle into the list, the ground shock. Okay. If I look at the uppercut now, the uppercut is going to be based on launching the enemy into the air. To make everything clear, I'm going to rename this. So death falling back, death falling back, death soccer tackle, death soccer tackle. Okay. I just want to be able to search every death animations by typing death underscore. Okay. And if I look for every attack, so hammer down is going to cause a ground shock. The jab is just a general attack. Smash is going to cause a ground shock. Uppercut is going to cause launch into air. Okay, I think everything looks good. Let me go to the other scene, the sampled scene. Make sure you save. Okay. I want to test that the attacks are working fine. Should be exactly the same. There's some sort of an error. I think if the death type is launch into air, we don't really care where it hits. We just want to send the enemy into the air. Okay. I think this should fix it. So jab works fine. So does the uppercut. Let me just try the uppercut again. Okay, looks good. So I'm now going to go back to the scene that we were working on. Just in case, if you're in a scene where there's a player spawn instead of the player itself, you want to make sure that you have something selected, because if this is none, you're probably going to get an error message. Okay. So whether it's yellow or green or red, make sure that you have one of these selected. Okay. If you go through the character select, you do this in the game, but now that we're starting with this scene, you just have to choose here. And if I go back to the hammer scene, everything should be exactly the same. Okay, looks good. Now I want more animations for the ground shock. I'm going to go to mixamo.com. And I'm going to look for a fall animation. There aren't that many that could match a ground shock. For now, I'll just use this sweep fall, download it, 60 frames per second. And once you download it, I'm going to go to my Mixamo folder. As always, drag it in, sweep fall, and we do the usual stuff: humanoid, apply, configure, sample T-bind pose, apply, done, animation, rename it, sweep fall. I'll check all these boxes for now. Okay, I don't want the entire animation. I want it to go maybe from here to the end. Okay. Apply. I'm going to go to the death folder and create an animator controller, death sweep fall. And if I go into the animator window, I want to drag in the sweep fall here. Make sure foot IK is turned on. Let me check some of the other death animators. Make sure that foot IK is turned on for every one of them. Okay, foot IK for the uppercut. Now I'm going to right click in the folder and create a death animation data, a scriptable object. Name it the same, sweep fall. It's gonna be the animator that we just created, and it's going to be based on the ground shock. And we'll deal with this option later. Just leave it for now. And I'm gonna go into the resources folder and add the new death animation that we just created. So sweep fall. Okay. If I take a look at Death Animation Manager, now that we have two types of ground shock animations, the manager is going to choose a random one out of all the candidates. Right now we just have two. Okay, let me change the code here. If it's not none, then we just add it to the candidates. We shouldn't be breaking here, which is just continue to find the other candidates. Okay, now let's go back and play again. Okay, so we get a random death animation between the two. Okay. We also have the issue of the enemy continuing to enter the death animation over and over again. I haven't written the code for this. I'll fix this in the next video. But overall, I think the hammer is pretty much done now. We just have to fine tune it a little more, which I'll do later on. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.